What we try here on this island is to make the people understand that they have to love animals. They are living creatures and they shouldn't abuse them. It's a lot of effort in order to pass this message to the people, and particularly the old generations.
PAWS is an animal shelter located on the Greek island of Paros. The shelter is run by a small team with the help of volunteers. PAWS works to take care of the island's stray animals and educate people on the ethical treatment of animals.
PAWS provides a shelter for dogs while we make them better. They come in normally in poor condition, full of fleas and ticks. So we rescue them, we get them to the vet, we get them treated, and we get them healthy, and then we rehome them after they've been neutered. We also feed the island's cat population, or a large number of them. Over 400 cats every day we feed on the island through feeding communities around the island. The problem that we have at the time being is there are so many cats, it's impossible to sort of have them in a shelter.
PAWS actually, with all the animals that it rescues, to give an example, we rehome every year about 250 dogs and cats. And we find good homes for them, loving homes for them, so that these animals go off the streets of Paros and go into families in Greece and abroad.
Well, I think the impact of PAWS on Paros is fairly easy to see. I came to live here about 10 years ago. And when I first came here, there were wild dogs running down the streets after cars and everything. And now you hear it all the time from tourists that you don't see it anymore. You don't see the wild dogs running after cars. The cats are all well fed, they're all neutered. You can tell neutered cats on the island because they have a cut on the ear. So everybody knows that these cats have been neutered. And so there's no breeding, so the cats are healthier, they're not as much a nuisance in the restaurants. It's a lot better, and people who come here tell us that.
As a small local shelter, it is difficult to sustain operations. Providing for hundreds of animals is not inexpensive and requires a lot of time. Finding sufficient funding and adequate number of volunteers can often be an issue for PAWS.
We are actually a non-profit institution. We have a little shop in Parikia where we sell second-hand things like books and CDs and a couple of things for animals. But this is not enough. We don't collect enough money to support our operations here.
Despite their efforts caring for the island's animal population, there are people in Greece who oppose animal shelters. They believe the animals should be free, but PAWS believes all animals should be provided proper care.
Well, to those who oppose it, I would say, look, this has to happen. It's the Greek law, right? Even in Greek law, it's the municipality and the island's responsibility to have an animal shelter and rescue dogs. It's the municipality's responsibility to neuter dogs. So there is always going to be a need, no matter, even if you change the attitude of the people tomorrow, then it would still be the fact that there would be a need for a shelter and for rescuing dogs and trying to rehome them. So it has to happen. It's in the law to do it, and it should be done. And that's why we're doing it.
Funds raised by PAWS is allowing the organisation to begin expansion into a new facility. Moving into a facility is long overdue, and the team is optimistic about what this new shelter will provide. On this area of land, there will be 9 kennels for 4 dogs each, an intake office, residential quarters, a cattery, as well as a pet cemetery.
Well, PAWS needs a new facility because the current location where we are here, it served PAWS very well for nearly 10 years, but it's not a shelter. It's actually a house with dog pens that have been built around it. So access to dogs is generally poor. You have to actually go from one pen to another to get to it. And in a case of emergency, that's not an ideal situation. It also makes feeding and walking difficult because dogs have to be tied up. It's also not built to European standards. So what we want to do is to put in place a proper, purpose-designed, purpose-built facility built to European standards where the dogs can have a comfortable life until they find their new homes.
With this new facility, the team at PAWS hopes to continue to educate the people of Paros about how to take care of animals and reduce the number of strays.
There are a lot of stray animals born And so there is a need for a shelter, there is a need for education for people, and there is a need for nurturing.
So we want to make it as a sort of a training spot there to bring children, to bring young people, and even farmers sometimes, and teach them, talk to them, explain to them that the animals are not things, but they are living creatures.
Taking care of these animals is a labour of love. Despite knowing their work will never be finished, the volunteers continue their efforts to improve the lives of the animals on Paros.
Well, my ultimate goal would be that I would never have to bother to do this, to be honest with you. That would be my dream come true. If the need disappeared and the people looked after their animals and there was never strays and I could go back to my retirement, which is why I came here in the first place. But that's, you know, I mean, these are dreams that we all have, and until that can actually ever come true, I'm going to keep doing this and do as much as I can to help the animals.
All this effort, it will be an ongoing effort for us in order to create, in the long run, a better life for the islands themselves, but even for the people here, to show the love and care that the animals deserve.